for research scholars. So this is our team members. These are all the team members are working in the different. Few fellows are working in the different government of India organizations. Few fellows are retired from the government of India organizations, and the few fellows are from the. This is our team members. So myself is also there. Anand is also there, and the Rajeshri is also one of the alumni of our this group. So we are total we have the 40 members, team members. In that 35 members are more than 35 members are in PhD holders. They have done their PhDs in the different reputed organizations in India. So few fellows are from urban, foreign also right now. This is our team. So we have the good collaboration with the renewed organizations, TERI, Usman University, ASAR, Climate Networks, NFSC, Srinath University. We are going to the MOU with the SRM University in soon. And we have the online courses as well as offline courses also. So one is in the upcoming courses is that water pollution treatment technologies and water quality modeling. So we have the 3 resource persons for that. It will start in the next month, sorry, this month only, and the 18th June to 6th July. So we have ongoing courses also there for the there are air pollution and health impacts. So total we have 200 participants in this course, and one other course is also ongoing courses. So that is in the satellite data analysis and visualization. So using the AI ML techniques and for the in the satellite data utilization and satellite data analysis. So these two are it's going on. We have the few archived courses also. We have numerical modeling for the studies for the coastal engineering, for introductions to advanced methods, and heat wave analysis and the present and future scenarios in India. Air quality monitoring basis. We have there are a number of we have almost all we have more than 1,000 members are right now. We have participated our courses. We have faculty development program also. We've done the good faculty development program for future engineering and sustainable development goals. So we basically focusing more on the sustainable development goals in India. So apart from the online courses, we are also running with the offline courses and offline voluntary offline programs for the societal community basis programs. So we have done the Apadamitra scheme for the training to volunteers for the Medak district in the Telangana. So disaster preparedness and the fire safety, monsoon and awareness about the lightning activities, heat waves and cold waves, what precautions we have to do during the heat waves and cold waves, and disasters, how preparedness of the if you flood is coming instantly, which something some occurred, accident will occur in the road while we are going. So first step, what we have to do, which department we have to call, and which department we have to, and what steps we have to do. That type of activities we have done in the Medak districts. We have trained these are all the type of things. So we have trained the more than 200 volunteers in the Medak district for the different age groups. Few from the students from the NCC groups, few from the Mahila, what we called Mahila committees or Mahila type of things in the Dwakra Mahila things in Andhra. So in the total the gents, there are different age groups. We have aware the what is the climate change and what is the climate crisis and how disaster preparedness we are doing. So this is a few clips we have done the based on our works in the in paper media. So and we have done the climate awareness programs, climate change and global warming type of things and environmental issues. So to know the college level students. So this is our one program we have done at Medak district. And community based works also we have done at the Kolar district in Karnataka. This along with the human rights publicity committee in Kolar. So, and we have done the MOS with the reputed organizations in the Usman University and some other places. So this is our action plans for the Telangana and Andhra. Now I am planning to do this type of the things in Andhra and Telangana, but we have work with the pan India. We have one office at Dehradun also. So in the heat wave action plans, forest fire protection and mitigation plans,
some eco is coming actually.
Oh, echo is coming.
Simultaneously, two voices are running.
Maybe you just stop your voice, I think. Now also coming?
Yes, yes.
No, sir. It's fine.
No, now it's
No,
fine.
sir.
I myself.
No, sir, okay.
Okay, it's over. Actually, it's over. No issue in that. So please visit our website to more the know about the what is the CSE and objectives and what's going on. So thank you. If any, yeah. There I can stop. Can I? Okay. So now our this now I call to the first speaker. If we have any doubts in the regarding our CSE, please let me know one or two questions only. We are offering to the collaborative mode works in all the pan India things. If you have any doubt, we can mail me also. No issue in that. So I hand over to the stage to the first speaker by Dr. Rajeshri. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, my voice is audible now.
Yeah, it is audible. We can introduce Rajesh Madam.
Yeah.
Yes, 1 second, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir, for inviting me on this wonderful day. It is not just a online webinar like any other webinar. Rather, it's a global level event that is getting celebrated all around the globe today since 1973. 1972, this day was designated, and since 1973, we have been celebrating World Environment Day, and you are dedicated in the Environmental Day. So environmental NGO with a wonderful presentation you give at every step. You are organizing event, online, offline event, training, outreach programs. So thank you so much, sir, Dagger sir, and sir, for inviting me. So let me share my screen. Is my slide visible?
Yeah, yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, as we know that we already know there are so many multiple environmental problems, as Dagger sir has already addressed climate problems, water-related pollutions, right from glaciers melting to upwelling of sea. So there are multiple problems in different aspects of environmental, like hydrosphere, geosphere, biospheres. Somehow today, like this year theme, the United Nations has set the theme as beat plastic pollution. We have so many varieties of environmental problems, but in spite of that, plastic has become the one of the leading problem of this time, of this era. So we will look into that, how, why, and when we can deal, what are the steps as the Indians. Now in India, we have the population, in the economy, we are the third large economy. In the population, we are one of the leading countries. So it's our individual Indians role, how we can play to beat the environmental crisis that's our forthcoming generations might suffer. So, every year we celebrate it since 1972. In spite of that, environmental problems are increasing. So, whether it is pollution or whether it is glacier melting, so many things are there. So, let us now imagine or visualize Earth as a human being. And we know that we have dedicated organs like lungs for respiratory functions, kidney for filtering out water, heart to pump the blood, the stomach to digest the foods. Similarly, if you imagine Earth has the wetlands for filtering as a kidney. What has the rivers and all those as the river channels our blood streams. If you see the atmospheres, those are the lungs where the air is there. So different composition of air is there. So we human being are part of the environment. As one of the organism species, we have so many biodiversity, whether plants or animals, under the earth, in the water, in the polar regions. So if you see, if any kind of water problem happens in our nearby area, then we may suffer kidney issues or water related issue, diarrhea, dysentery. If we have like COVID-19 air problem, we could not see what is that COVID-19, what is that virus, but that was problem related to air. So many of we lost our near and dear due to lungs problem. So if we have one component problem in the environment, respective problem might happen in us in our health. But if you see that every sphere, this plastic has become a demon, which can interfere at atmosphere, at hydrosphere, at lithosphere or geosphere or biosphere. It can circulate in all the spheres, and equivalently this is also circulating in our body in all the organs, right from brains, lungs, our kidneys, stomachs, blood streams, and we are facing so many problems. There are multiple problems, that health issues we are having. I think many audience here, we cannot claim that we are 100% healthy. So that is one of the reason, health issues. So what is happening globally? Why plastic has become such a crisis? Because 400 million tons of waste is annually it is wasted. I mean, waste generation. So what is happening? We have variety categories of waste. Let us simple categorization is, for example, we have single-use plastic and multiple-use plastic. The major problem that is coming because of the environmental issues is single-use plastic problems, and that we are throwing. For example, any food delivery, whether Zomato, Swiggy, or any other local vendors, they deliver, they package it one time use covers, and we have the food and then we throw it. So in this way, directly, indirectly, we are causing harm to the environment. We are throwing the plastic. At the same time, at that one time use plastic, the food that is having heat or the warm food, they also absorb the microplastics and they enter our body itself. So plastic is entering our body, at the same time it is entering the ecosystem. And what is the main problem? We are creating so many waste, like papers are also waste, clothes are also waste. Why the plastic waste has become such a big problem that we have to keep it as a theme to work on it? So the plastic, why? Because it is having the durability. It is not biodegradable. It can remain hundreds and hundreds of years. When the plastic was invented, it was celebrated as a durable, something that is durable, that can hold solid, that can hold liquid like milk, oils, that can hold gaseous items. So it was thought of as a great invention, but eventually today we are thinking it as a main villain, because it is entering to the environment and it's persistent. It's not degradable by any means. If it is causing harm to the ecosystem. Now, if you think, if we consider India, particularly being Indians, that annually we are approximately generating 3.5 million tons annually. So now we are generating million tons and we are either throwing it to the oceans, rivers, lakes, or we are dumping it in the under the soil, or we are burning it. So plastic by any means, either it's going as a waste to the water bodies, or going into the soil, or burning, and they are entering into the atmosphere. So what is the problem? The problem is, if we burn, then they release durance toxins, toxin durance gases. If we throw them into the water, they choke the water bodies, rivers, canals, dams, and during monsoon flash floods. Majorly, the problem happens in the urban areas where drainage system is not proper. Then in India, we have many flash floods. Mumbai every year, major Bangalore, major metropolitan cities, they may be having multi-million, multi-storied buildings, but they suffer due to basic nominal rainfall happens, and flash floods also they encounter. And if you see the soil, if it is dumped, majority rural areas are getting affected, because the India is still a agriculture based country. Our main economy comes from the agriculture. Main contribution to the GDP is from agriculture. And if this plastic, any form of plastic, whether that is straw, that is cutleries, or that is the covers, or the cans, jars, any form of plastic, or the Lays or Kurkure packets, any or cosmetic packagings, Amazon or Flipkart, any online shopping parcels, if they are thrown into the soil, they leach the toxins into the soil, and ultimately they are causing reducing the fertility of our soil. So two problems major happening there. The soil is losing its fertility, and at the same time, these plastics, even if the agriculture land is having crops, they enter to the crops, and we are eating those microplastics as food. So you see, whether we are consuming the water from the polluted plastic polluted water, or we are eating the foods. So by any means, that plastic is also entering our body. It's not the plastic is now not a problem of America or developed countries, or we can say that the developing countries. It's an individual issues. They are causing health issues right from the child they are taking birth, or even not when they are in the womb to the person dying. So any age limit is not there where the plastic is causing influence. So the main issues in India is 60% of the total waste, like 3.5 million tons, 60% is contributed to the single use plastic. And why that is happening? The main reason is we do not have sufficient technology to segregate. We are doing still manual segregation when we are dumping, or recycling, reusing. That awareness we don't have. Here I will thank the founder and co-founder and the entire team of CSEE, that they are organizing. They have come up with an NGO educating the people that environmental issues are not now the global level. It has come down to individual level. We have to think about how at single use plastic we have to reject, and we have to keep on reusing, recycling, and reducing the wastage. So now it's not a new concept. I already said that this day is getting celebrated since 1972. So India, apart from India, other 150 countries have also been part of this United Nations global initiative. In spite of that, India is also having multiple rules and regulations. Policies are there, major like Plastic Waste Management Rule 2016, ban on single-use plastic right from 2022, Clean India missions, like, and the other policies are the clean mission like Namami Gange, Namami Brahmaputra, so many missions are there. Project, national level project is there. They are continuing. In spite of that, the problem is still persisting, because it's not sufficient only if we keep on increasing the number of policies. That has to come down to individual, to us, and we practice in our day-to-day life. So that is the problem. The national level policy, state levels, many states have also they have the rules, regulations to come up on the issues, plastic issues. But as an individual here in this event, we all who are joining here, I think we all are responsible environmental warriors, that we are conscious that something problem is there, and we are part of this event. And as a conscious Indian citizens, we should think to refuse single-use plastic, carry our reusable bags and water bottles, then support green plastic green missions, and participate and educate. That here we are doing through this event. Now, we already know the threats, so I did not discuss too much about the detail of the threats or the chemicals released to the plastics and everything. Rather, I will discuss here the roles that youth can do, how our youth generation, young Indians, we can stand on and take the practical oriented solutions, so that we can literally try to reduce the plastic pollutions and get rid of the ill effects of this plastic pollution. So first one is eco entrepreneurs. Now nowadays, like during my times when I was young, I think there was 2 or 3 career alternatives in India. Probably the major was like engineering or medical or normal teachers. But now the generations, they are not interested in too much of traditional career path. They are opting for entrepreneurs. So many entrepreneurships courses are also getting floated, and they are taking good startups. India is encouraging good startups, getting so many fundings. So many startups, if you are watching the Shark Tank India, many BTech students, or even the young people, right from their 3rd year, 4th year, they are coming with the completely a setup startup. So those young minds can also think about their mindset towards the eco entrepreneurs, towards the plastic, how that can be effectively reduced or reused or recycled, or how they can so that the plastic is reduced and economy is increased. This is one way the Indian youth we can contribute. Another hobby nowadays, I think many young students have to make the reels, YouTube reel or Instagram reels or social media. They post infographics, everything is now, and many platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube reels, they are getting even monetized, right? So we can leverage those social media, and we can use the environmental reels or the social media posts, so that we can aware the young mind, and how we can reduce this plastic pollution, as well as increase our students can use this as a passive income. So, and it apart from that, like student-led initiatives, there are many eco clubs or chapters inside the campus of any universities or group of students. They nowadays self-help groups are also there. So many students can they can start their initiatives. Many sea beaches, I see the post on social media, like Goa beach was, or the Puri beach of Odisha, that has been actually not the intervention of government, but a group of students, they come together and they have cleaned it, and they have made the beach, so many beaches beautiful. They look like the posts comes like that this is not Maldives, but rather the beaches of India. So that kind of things are coming up, and more we can encourage, so that these becomes, so that, because India, India is a peninsular country. We are surrounded by water, oceans and sea on the 3 side. So if we do such kind of student drive eco events, those can really practically, they can solve the problems. So there are so many innovations, like you need not go to the actually beach and clean the waste material. Rather, if you are good at coding or like websites, you can create an app then you can create certain recycling apps, reusing apps, so that people, if like I have something to dump into the dustbin, some clothes or some paper as my exam is finished, then instead I can click on the app and I can give you, and you can recycle that into a you can deliver it to recycle industries, or clothes to the reusable to the particular community, poor people, or redesign it and refashion. So there are multiple things are coming out. So these edible cutleries or jute bag, many aspects are there, where if you look into the our kitchen or our house, I think we are surrounded everything with the plastic, whether our laptop, phone covers, whether with the dress we are wearing having microplastics, or the kitchen we see the stores, the storage boxes or the fridge cabinets. Somehow our wearables, all the smart watch, everything, every touch, right from a cosmetics. So once our cosmetic product is over, we throw it into the dustbin. So these kind of innovative ideas can come up to the young minds. They can create apps, they can collaborate with the industries. So smart solutions, smart technological oriented solutions can come up from the young people. So the vision here we have in India today, the World Environment Day, that India can become a plastic free India. So we can create initiatives like the NGOs CSEE is doing. We can start award like climate ambassador, or the plastic free ambassador of the year, like this. Some tags and awards and reward we can create, and we can motivate the students to participate, and then they become climate ambassador, like that. So there are different ways where we can like right from policies to the daily life to the smart solution to the economy. Circular economy is this coming, that is the integration of science as well as economics, ecology and economy, where reuse resources and recycling of the resources and generation of income, that is coming up. So these all things should come up, so that towards this plastic pollution, we are already having those concepts. We are having enough technology to prepare robotics operations in the health department. We have good high technology in our surveillance in the borders, but now we need to think how we can technologically we can come with the robotics that can solve, or the technology, the smart solutions, whether it is products or the services, we initiate our young minds so that we can solve the real world problems that we individually are facing today. So if now if I will go in little bit detail, that different sectors, how if we are schools and educators, like me, I am a teacher, so we already do so many events in VITAP, clubs are there where plastic free campaigns we do, and so many awareness poster competitions, videography, infographic competitions, 3D working model competitions, where students come up with the innovative working model solutions, and then they feel encouraged, and that we if the products are good, we also do exhibitions to the local people, outreach events. So like this, in the schools and educators, young teachers can initiate environment as their one of their teaching, uh, teach in their teaching methodologies. So another now panchayats and local bodies, they can really work on the waste segregation, where actually the main problem comes. In rural areas, we have agricultural things, and they burn it directly. Instead, or illegally dumping. The city or the municipal people take the waste and they dump in some of the rural illegally, they're in the rural areas, or burn it. So as a result, without any fault, rural people are also suffering for the lavish lifestyle of the urban people. So these effective, whatever laws are there, that effective implementation is also required at the ground level. Not only that policies are made at the capital city of India and they are not getting to the ground level. Then we are Indians, whether to any region, geographical region, state we belong, or any religion we belong, we have wonderful alternative options. Like right now I am in Andhra Pradesh, and here I really love, whether the food is given in a restaurant or in a street food, they give a banana leaf over the plate, whether it is steel plate or fiber plate. If I ask them to pack idli or something, then they will wrap it with the banana leaves with the threads. Here, very rarely they use plastic bags or very fancy covers. So this is one tradition here. The banana cultivation is very prominent, and they take the fruit, we sell it, and they use the leaves also for packaging. This is conscious decision they are making towards the contribution towards the environment. I mean, they are using it for the cultural, tradition is to eat in the banana leaf, but at the same time, indirectly, they are also helping the environment for not creating the plastic waste or the unnecessary waste, in a way that also reduces the consumption of detergent or washing. Okay, so these are some Indian traditional wisdoms. Many things are there. Farmers are burning, so need the awareness. Then urban lifestyle is the one of the major cause. Are so much of lavish that we are always one time use and throw lifestyle. So in the Western countries nowadays, new concepts, they are following minimalism, essentialism, means whatever is essential they will purchase, and then rest they don't. Or minimalism, sometimes, like, if I am purchasing one shirt, then I have to donate one shirt, so that I have the minimal requirement and I can survive. Or capsule wardrobe, one capsule, in a capsule we have power packed medicines, like say our wardrobe has to be capsule wardrobe. So these kind of initiatives are coming from, have been initiated in the Western countries. And in India, we already have very traditional religious things are there, which respect our nature. In any of the things, we start to worship our nature first. Many festivals are there in Andhra. Here we have Ugadi, in Odisha we have so many festivals. Many states have their festivals where we respect our harvest cultures. So those things are there. Then corporate responsibilities, if many participants who are here working as a corporate, so there are many. CSR is mandatory for the industries, so they do so many luxury kind of activities. Sometimes they can think of greenery towards the, not only building some structures or always the some kind of fancy luxury CSR activities. Rather, they can contribute towards some environmental eco-friendly activities they can do. So these are for the corporate sector peoples in the India, where we can initiate, because many young is deviated towards the corporate lifestyle. So in a corporate lifestyle, if the reverse is coming towards the environment, then that can help to balance. Then influence in the media and influencers, I already told, and many influencers are there who are now promoting the environmental things, but more and more promotion has to come, so that it reach the environment, whether it's through the reels, whether through the post, whether through the these kind of webinars and events, more and more digital. See, this through this event, we all are sitting comfortably in our home. No carbon footprint is generated. We are awareing, we are we are getting participation in the global level event today, World Environment Day. So this is because of the platform available, online digital platforms. So more and more influencers should come up from the young minds, and then we can solve the problems. Then NGO, I need not say, already before the event started, Dr. Dagger already given a very wonderful detailed what their dedicated NGO is doing, right from online coaching to online courses to the offline laboratory is set, that analysis contribution to the academia, to the research, to the local people, to the school level people, students, to the village level awareness. So they are dedicated to so much doing MOUs. So this is kind of the things that they are doing, and we can support and we can be part of these, so that our motto of today's World Environment Day can actually become that we doesn't celebrate it single day, rather we celebrate it whole year. Every day becomes environmental celebrations. Okay, so that's what we have, and the option how we can celebrate environment every day. We have so many festivals. Any religion, any region, any country we live in, with America, Australia, or Africa, all the people in India, we have so many festivals are there. So we can start to make our festivals more and more plastic-free festivals. So whether we use organic colors or flowers, instead of going plastic decorations, one-time decoration plastics, we can decorate like Holi. Then earlier our ancestor used to use the colors of the natural flowers, leaves, but now we have synthetic colors. Those contain the microplastics. If we're using the cosmetics and make all those medicines, they all are having microplastics. So those are the, whether plastic is microplastic or that is having a mega plastic or normal plastics. So we should try to make our event initiatives now new plastic free festivals, so that we actually live our today world environment motto. So these all some of the case studies, Ganga and beach plans. And however, our challenges are there. We understand, we know that India is such a huge population country, but in spite of that, small micro steps like today we are organizing this event, awareness can definitely come. Like we have eradicated polio with awareness. So deadly diseases, if we could remove, then why not environmental issues we can address. So as a Indian, we can do the volunteering work, advocate, educate, and we can choose to become a healthy environment. So that if environment is healthy, then we will definitely be lead a healthy life and happier, prosperous life. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for wonderful talk and plastic-free India and as well as globe. So now I invite Dr. Muhammad Yusuf Rathe. So please.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, it's audible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Darga Sheikh, for inviting me as a speaker on the day, which is very, very important. And also thanks, Rajeshri ma'am, for such a nice talk. I'll try to share my slide and so today I'm going to speak about the natural attenuation of groundwater contaminants and its scope in the water management. So earlier I wanted to maybe speak with respect to India as a reference or a country, but then later I realized that as ma'am has already mentioned about the plastic pollution that everyone is talking about, particularly the microplastic pollution that can be found everywhere now. So I thought of giving a case study with respect to the degradation of the plastic are the attenuation processes that can be carried out for the plastic degradation. Although everyone is pretty much sure about it, that when we talk about the natural attenuation processes, degradation of a plastic is very, very difficult. But still, there are ways one can see, or there are some ways by the plastic can still be degraded. And everyone knows that we are today celebrating the World Environment Day. And when we talk about the environment, we mostly talk about the 4 different components of it. We talk about the atmosphere, the lithosphere, the biosphere, as well as the hydrosphere. But why am I focusing today on a water pollution particularly? For me, the reason is could be very, very simple, because when we look at the current generation, when we look at are the human population, most of the population, other than a limited, we can say, a limited portion of the environmentalists, everyone is having an anthropocentric view towards an environment, where mostly people are thinking that um, human beings are at the center of an ecosystem, and we also refer um, to this as an ecosystem rather than an ecosystem. And when I'm looking at the different components of an environment, I see a portion of an air which is very, very important for us because we need to breathe air. I see land because I need to cultivate a food which can provide a source of energy for me. I see water, which is again very important for me. Everyone knows that we need to drink around 2 liters of water per day to keep us alive. When I'm looking at all these different components now, everyone knows that we cannot survive in few seconds if we don't breathe, or if we don't drink, we cannot survive more than 2 to 3 days, and if we don't eat food, we can still survive for 7 days to 15 days. When I'm looking at all this, I still consider water pollution as very important issue, because the reason is when I'm looking at the total amount of the land that is available to me, I'm looking at the 27% of the land where I can use the land for the cultivation. Or if I'm looking at the 70% of the available water to me, I can also look for an aquaculture as a alternate source of food. When I'm looking at air also, I have 21% of an oxygen, which is very good as compared to the other components or gaseous components. But when I'm looking at water, particularly, I have only 1% of the water which is available for human beings to be consumed. And when I'm looking at this 1% of the water, I'm also looking at the water which is present in the ice caps, which is present in the glaciers, and the water which is also present underground, which is not too much bioavailable for a human being to be taken up. So that is one of the reasons why I'm mostly looking at water pollution. And second thing that you can see on the slide, if it is visible to you, is the plastic pollution. Both are highly connected together. Um, as you see, mostly you might have heard or you might have learned from multiple newses coming up nowadays, where we are seeing that even there's a biomagnification of these plastics that is happening, the microplastics that are going inside the food chain, aquatic food chain, and when human beings are consuming it, they are going into the human being's body. And now the microplastics are even being found in the blood samples as well as the breast milk of humans. So, which makes it a very, very worrisome problem currently in the contemporary environmental issues. And when I'm looking particularly at the water, why, as I already mentioned, why I'm focusing on water, because I have a very, very limited amount of water available to me. And when I'm looking at the contaminations that are happening to the water, you can see I have all different types of the physical, chemical, biological. In chemical, I talk about the organic as well as inorganic contaminants that are present in the water. And whatever we drink today is not, I can say, 100% contaminant free. Even like the study which has been carried out, it says that the American-made filters, which are one of the best filters available in markets right now, can still remove 70% of tap water contaminants. So 30% still remain there. So whatever, mostly the water we drink nowadays is consumed water. Even microplastics are very commonly found in drinkable water nowadays or potable water nowadays. And also when I'm looking at water, I can see because of the water, there are so many diseases that are spreading from earlier time. And the availability of the water is less, and everyone needs a water every day for living or for surviving. And when I'm looking at the different countries, we can see that in globally, just 60% of the water population doesn't have an access to the clean water, and particularly where you are looking at the African continent. And also when I'm looking at India, I have multiple states in India where the water is not drinkable or potable at all, particularly when you're looking at the West Bengal, where you can see the fluoride contamination happening there. When you go to Punjab, you see the arsenic contamination over there. So heavy metal contamination is very, very
Sir, the
common
slides
nowadays
are
in
not moving, I think. Slides are not moving.
slide is so that's anyway okay. I mean, like I don't have too much in the slide. Is it visible now, sir?
Okay.
Sir, is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Fine. So now when I'm looking at the previous times, when if I go back towards 1970s, so one of the most important processes, or one of the only processes that was used for decontamination of the groundwater, particularly, that the process was called as a pump and treat method, where you can see that wherever the contamination used to happen, we used to pump out the water from that contaminated area, then treat it, and then release it back into the environment. But when I'm looking at that pump and treat method, uh, there are always positives as well as negatives about it. You can see from the image itself that this is the decontamination which was done which was done in US in 1989 after a gap of 10 years. So it says me that the process is very slow, first of all. But when I'm looking at the good side of it, if I'm doing the pump and treat method, I basically restricted the spread of the contamination or pollution into the environment. So I can remove the contaminant from the environment. I can restrict it from spreading to other areas, but also when I'm looking at the bad part of it, it takes a lot of time. This method. So uh, then do we have any other choices other than that? So when we look at this National Research Council 2012, they said, like, when we are looking at the pump and treat method, it becomes very difficult when the site is very complex. So what do I understand first by a complex site? Let us take an example for like if we are looking at any of the groundwater quality, and if it is contaminated, I don't have an idea first of all about the size of an aquifer. I don't have an idea about how much contaminant has gone into the soil or into the land. To what depth should I actually apply this decontamination method? So when I'm looking at all these things, it becomes very difficult for me or complex for me to get a solution for this problem. So that is why we need to look at, or assess all the processes that are available with this when we are looking at remediation of these contaminated sites. So one of the most common processes that one sees is called as a natural attenuation process. Now, how do I define a natural attenuation process? So natural attenuation process is basically we are looking at the nature itself, how nature used to cleanize the water earlier. See, far as if I'm going back again into 1950s, 1970s, if I look at the water quality during that time, particularly the underground water, you might not have seen any kind of contaminant in that. But after that, since when we are looking at the industrialization, when we are looking at the urbanization, increased urbanization, when we are looking at the overgrowth of the population, the contaminants have been increased and released too much into the environment, which makes it very difficult for us. Or when we are looking at the permissible limit, it has shorted high or shorted up. So now bringing it back within the permissible limits or making it a potable water becomes very difficult for us. So, but what used to happen when the industrialization was not there, when urbanization was not there? I'll play one short video here. I hope that you can see this video. Then I'll come back to my presentation. So was the video audible and visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So now when I'm looking at this procedure, there's nothing I can say scientific that's happening as of now, or um, there's nothing difficult to understand in this process. So this is what used to happen to the groundwater earlier. So whenever you see the rain fall, or mostly you might have seen the rainwater harvesting videos multiple times. When I'm looking at this process, what happens actually is the water passes through the different layers of soil, sand, gravel, or charcoal or organic matter, as well as there are microorganisms which act on this water. And there are multiple processes now that happen to this water when it moves from one layer to the another layer. But mostly when I'm looking at this process, one important process that happens there is called as an adsorption or absorption. So most of the contaminants are absorbed when they move from one phase to the other phase. So if we look at the nature, we have the solution for most of the problems. That is what we are looking at. And when I'm looking at the natural attenuation processes normally, so I mostly look at three different processes that one considers as a natural attenuation. One is called as dilution, second is called as bioremediation, and then we have absorption and adsorption. When I'm looking at bioremediation, mostly related with the living organisms, but absorption and adsorption are mostly the physical or chemical processes. But when I'm looking at a dilution, I cannot call it as a process, but it is just an escape way where we can basically still minimize the contaminant in a water. So, for example, if I'm looking at the dilution is basically a cleaner process, which is defined by UNEP as a process which is environmental protective, which doesn't have any impact on an environment, or where the energy usage is very, very minimum. That is also considered as a passive environmental strategy, which you can find in India, what most of the industries are doing nowadays. See, it's very, very simple. I'll put it like this. If I'm looking at, for example, the heavy metal contamination in water bodies, say, for example, if I'm looking at a cadmium concentration in water body, I know that my effluent, which I'm discharging from my industry, should have a concentration of 0.001 ppm, less than that. To be called it as a safe water. So let us assume now the industry that I am having or that I have set up is having too much of a cadmium or chromium presence in the water, or let's say it is 0.1 ppm. So what shall I do in that case? I cannot release that water back into the environment. So the only option, or most of the strategies that these industrialists are taking up, is called as a dilution. So what I can do is, if I am diluting the water 100 times, say for example 1 liter of an effluent, if I add more 99 liters of clean water, so automatically my heavy metal is coming below the permissible limits. So this is basically an escape route for the industries, but I cannot call it as a process. But when I'm looking at an environmental side, it's a safer process once again, or safer mechanism, because when I'm looking at the permissible limit of my contaminant, it is very, very less. So there are some approaches as well, which are called as a reactive environmental strategies, or where I talk about end of life approach or on-site recycling, but I will not go into the details because I'll mostly focus on the natural attenuation processes that we have. And second natural attenuation process that we have is normally called as a bioremediation. So all of you might have heard about the term. When I'm referring a bioremediation, I say when I use any kind of a living organism to remove the pollutant or to degrade the pollutant. When I'm looking at the organism, it's not necessarily that I always use a living organism in it. I can also use sometimes the enzymes, particularly for this degradation processes. So if I have to define it, I can say I can use the microorganisms, the plants, as well as the enzymes. And can I use all living organisms for a bioremediation process? The answer can be certainly no, in most of the cases, because the reasons are very, very simple. Uh, Say for if I give you an example like this, if I take an example of each and every human being has different requirements for the food. Let's say, for example, if I'm talking about uh, let us say if I talk about the different animal species also, so each and everyone has a different requirement of a food. They cannot eat everything. So similarly, when I'm looking at a bioremediation process, the first thing that I require is the substrate should be digestible for an organism or should be usable for an organism. So how can I define which thing is a usable or digestible for an organism or which is not? In other words, I can put it, if any sort of a contaminant or a pollutant is providing any sort of a source of an energy for an organism, the organism can biodegrade it. Say, for example, again, let us say if I have two choices, I have rice as well as I have stones and pebbles to eat. I'll never eat pebbles or stones. Why? The reason is very, very simple. I cannot digest them. When I cannot digest them, they cannot provide me any sort of an energy. When they don't provide me any sort of energy, this is not going to help me in any case. So similarly, when I'm looking at the different pollutants that contaminants, multiple microorganisms are acting on those, eating up those, or degrading those, because they are getting a source of energy out of it. What is the source of an energy that microorganisms normally use? When you are taking an example of most of the decomposers, They either need carbon as a source of an energy for them, or they use sulfur, nitrogen, or phosphorus as the bodybuilding materials. So if you have any kind of a contaminant which has this carbon as a source of energy, that can be degraded. So which means that the bioremediation process is always going to depend on two things. One, the source of an energy that it provides, and second thing is that it should be degradable, or it should be available for an organism to be eaten up, or to be taken up. So when I'm looking at a bioremediation process, if I'm mostly talking about an organism, I have two different types of bioremediation processes once again here. One approach is called as an biostimulation approach, and second is called as an bioaugmentation approach, where when I'm looking at a bioaugmentation, I'm in both the cases I'm basically trying to speed up the process. In bioaugmentation, I'm trying to speed up the process by giving more decomposers, or by giving more degrading organisms to an ecosystem, or to an environment. But in stimulation, I'm trying to stimulate the process by providing the source of an energy for an organisms to overgrow, so that they can utilize most of the contaminants after that. And when it comes to the plants, I have different types of techniques where where still plants can be used for the remediation of different pollutants. So I don't want to go in detail here once again, but if I am taking an examples of bioremediation process, particularly with respect to India, one of the best examples is the the ZMAs, the Brassica juncea, which is the mustard plant, Indian mustard plant, or also the sunflower. So this Indian mustard plant has been used by most of the countries as a hyperaccumulator now. Particularly, you can look at the case studies with respect to the USA, where they have used this Brassica juncea, I mean Indian mustard, for the bioaccumulation of the lead. Or also you can take an example with respect to the China. Most of the countries have imported this Indian mustard plant for the bioremediation. And as I said, it is classified as an hyperaccumulator. Hyperaccumulator means which can accumulate 1,000 times more concentration of the pollutants and contaminants with respect to its environment or the surrounding environment. So, which means that this bioremediation has a larger scope. If I'm looking at the benefits of these processes, say for example, if I give an example with respect to the phyto extraction in this case, so the plant basically extracts the different contaminants from the environment, say whether it's an aquatic environment or a terrestrial environment. So the contaminant is being transported from air, soil, or water, and it is taken up and it is stored in the plant body. And after that, I can just maybe harvest this plant and take it to some other place, which is where I don't have any human contact within that place, which means it has a scope when it comes to the bioremediation or natural attenuation processes context. And but one has to understand that when it comes to the bioremediation process is not one size fit all process. So you always have to look at optimization of the process, where you have to look at, or I can say when it comes to the optimization, you have to look at what are the parameters which play a very important role in the bioremediation or decontamination of a contaminant or a pollutant. So there you can talk about the pH, you can talk about the temperature, you can talk about the oxygen level, you can talk about also the water availability, you can talk about the different nutrients that has to be provided for the growth of an organism, and you can also talk about whether you need to augment the organism for the growth or not. So which means that for each and every different contaminant or a pollutant, you need to have a different set of optimized parameters before carrying out that process. And when I'm looking at this, the drawback which is associated with the bioremediation process is now, since I have to monitor the process from the beginning to the end, so it's a very long process. As I gave an example with respect to the Indian mustard, for example, for a second. So when I want to grow, I want to decontaminate an area, which means I have to wait 4 to 6 months for the process to be completed. And also one more drawback of this process can be if my contaminants are gone deep down into the aquifers, then my roots of the plants cannot go into the aquifers or cannot go that deep. So that also has a drawback. And third process that normally I'm referring to is the absorption or adsorption. Once again, all of you might be very aware about it. If I'm looking at the wastewater treatment processes, or whenever I'm looking at any of the environmental processes, you might have seen the sand filters. You might have seen the activated charcoal that has been commonly used nowadays in most of the remediation or in most of the water treatment processes. So when I'm looking at this activated carbon, or when I'm looking at this sand filters, they basically absorb the contaminants. And nowadays, if you're looking at the new avenues or the fields in this particular area for research, you can see the nanotechnology, which plays a very important role nowadays, where you see the synthesis and characterization of the nanoparticles that has been done from last 2 decades, and they have been used for the water treatment processes. You also see the biochar which has been made from different plants nowadays, and that biochar has been used as an adsorbent. You also can see the literature, research literature, where we have different husk of different plants that has been used for adsorption processes. So I have just given some of the examples here. For example, nanoparticles, where you can see Fe3O4. You can also see the copper nanoparticles, the gold nanoparticles, the silver nanoparticles, palladium nanoparticles, titanium nanoparticles. So all of these nanoparticles have normally been used for the water treatment, where you can see the removal of the heavy metals that has been done, where you can see the removal of the dyes, even the pharmaceuticals, which has been carried out by these processes. And since, as I said earlier, I wanted to talk about the bioremediation process with some case studies in with India's context. But later I thought, okay, since we are mostly talking about today, we were talking about the beating of the plastics. So why not give an example with respect to how we can look for degradation of a plastic? So is it the first question that comes here is it possible for us to look for biodegradation of a plastics as well? Because as ma'am, Rajeshri ma'am has given a lecture earlier, she has mentioned it clearly that plastics are non-biodegradable in most of the cases. But when I'm looking at the time scale, although it takes a lot of time to degrade, but still there's the positive hope. But I cannot say that I directly the process of the biodegradation can happen to the plastics itself, but it's a two-step process. First step is the degradation of the plastics has to happen first. When it comes to the biodegradation basically plays a role at the monomer stage, not the polymer stage. So for that, first of all, if I'm looking at a plastic, I normally define a plastic as a polymer which is made up of different monomers, which can be ethylene, which can be chloride, which can be tetraphthalate. So based on the different monomers that have been joined together, we have the different plastics that have been made. Say, for example, if I'm looking at some of the monomers, we have polyethylene tetraphthalate, which is ethylene tetraphthalate as a monomer, or polyurethane, or if you look at polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride. So these are different functional groups. But what I want you people to understand here is, first of all, look at the different atoms that are present in these monomers. So one can easily see that the availability of the carbon is there. And in my presentation in the beginning itself, I said this carbon is a very important source of energy for the microorganisms. So if I have a carbon, if I'm looking at the plastics now, all the plastics are made of monomers of carbon. So can these microorganisms now act on these carbon atoms as a source of energy, and that can basically lead to the disintegration of a carbon or degradation of a plastic. But the worrisome problem with respect to the plastics is, as ma'am also mentioned, that when these plastics were invented, so everyone was so happy at it because it particularly played a very important role in the packaging industry, where you can see the packaging. Even from a smaller item to the larger item, everywhere in packaging material, these plastics have been used, and they are very light in weight, and they last for a very long period of time. So it was a boon as an invention at that time, but no one knew the side effects of it. And the side effect, if you can see here, is if I'm looking at the lifespan of this plastic, it's normally starting from 50 years to 450 years. So you can also see the plastics, if I'm talking about the low density or high density polyethylene. So I have a lifespan of plastic more than 600 years. So which means that if I particularly look at the single-use plastics which are made of this high-density polyethylene, after 1 year, I throw that plastic. So, but it doesn't disintegrate up to 600 years, which is a big problem when it comes to the plastics. So now when I'm looking at this plastics, normally all the plastics have been divided based on the different atoms, have been divided into two different types. One is called as a plastic with carbon-carbon backbone, and second is called as plastic with heteroatoms, where I'm mostly looking at a carbon-oxygen backbone. And it becomes very easy for us to degrade the carbon-carbon backbone plastic as compared to the carbon oxygen backbone plastic. And when I'm looking at plastic, one more problem that you can see from the slide itself is more than 76% of the plastics finally become a waste. So which means that one has to look at how you manage the waste, how you manage the plastics. And now, when I'm looking at this plastic earlier, also I mentioned one thing one need to understand is an organism cannot directly act on the plastic. Why? The reasons are very simple. This is a very complex system. When I'm looking at the polymers, polymer is a very complex system. So an organism, first of all, particularly I'm talking about a microorganism. Microorganism does not recognize this polymer as a source of a food. So for a microorganism to recognize it as a source of a food, it has to be broken down into a monomers first. So if we convert a polymer into a monomer, then microorganisms can utilize this carbon as a source of energy. But when it's a polymer, it is not degradable for organisms at all. So when I'm looking at this disintegration, so there are normally different processes which I mean we discuss about in the factors that are responsible for the disintegration of the plastic. So what basically happens is the plastic, for example, if you're looking at the slide once again, I have a bag. This bag has to be first fragmented into very, very smaller pieces. So till that time, I don't have the role or the involvement of organisms here. But once it is disintegrated into smaller fragments, then only microorganisms are acting on it. And when I'm looking at this disintegration processes, you'll again see that the microorganisms normally does not take up the plastics or microplastics directly. They basically release the enzymes which are degrading it first, then releasing converting it into carbon dioxide and water, and this carbon will be taken up by the microorganisms. And this disintegration is happening because of the various environmental factors. That's what you can see if you're leaving a plastic bag in water or if you're leaving it in a soil. If you see after maybe 10 or 15 years, it becomes it's not same reliable, or it's not same rigid. So the rigidness, the get is loosened up over a period of time, and it gets disintegrated into smaller pieces. So it becomes easier for if I'm looking at the disintegration that has happened from larger fragments to smaller fragments. So I can say that the sunlight or this water or the soil was having an impact on the disintegration of a plastic. Um, so as I said, mostly you will see that the microorganisms are releasing some sort of an enzymes. Some of the enzymes, which we call as the depolymerase enzymes, which act on these uh, microplastics. And when I'm looking at these enzymes, you will normally see that lipases, proteinases, and dehydrogenases are some of the enzymes which are secreted by the microorganisms which degrade the microplastic. And also, if you look at the recent research, once again, there are some of the organisms, particularly the beetles, which have been invented or which have been discovered to act on the microplastics. For example, you can see the cigarette beetle, you can see the weevils, and you can see the moths, even the mealworms, which have been seen uh, to have the capability to disintegrate the different plastics into carbon dioxide and water. And when I'm looking at this plastics now, I said the limitation with this process is I have to rely on an organism first of all, whether that is a microorganism, whether that's an actinomycete, whether that's a fungal species, or whether that's a worm. But when I'm looking at the disintegration, as I said, the disintegration takes a lot of time. So do I have any other alternative other than the plastic? Because as I said, if you're looking at the current life, everyone is too much dependent on the plastics nowadays. Can I replace the plastic with something else which will basically give me the same work, or um, which can basically replace the plastics continuously? So as of now, if someone is asking me the same question, I can say might be not, because we don't have any replacement for the plastics as of now when it comes to the packaging industry. But one thing one can work on is basically to look at the different biodegradable plastics. For example, as I said, we have the plastics are basically the polymers of different monomers. If you are looking at the polylactic acid, PLA, which can be made from the starch, or if you are looking at polyhydroxyl alkylates, or if you are looking at thermoplastic starches, these are some of the monomers which can be converted into polymers, and these polymers will be biodegradable in the long run, which can be one of the alternatives to the existing plastics. And Now, is this natural attenuation process the processes which I'm saying where we need to depend on either the life or whether I need to depend on the processes of the environment itself? Are they feasible enough for the decontamination of the plastics or the pollutants? Maybe, as I said, the process is very slow. That is why US EPA MNA is monitor natural attenuation, which defines that we say this natural attenuation can be definitely used for any of the decontamination process if we have the process monitored. Monitored means, as I was referring in the beginning itself, if we are looking for the bio augmentation or bio stimulation, where basically I am increasing the rate of the process. So if someone is working on increasing the rate of the process, definitely it will be a go-to process in future. And US EPA 1999 are defining the monitored natural attenuation process as an appropriate remediation method, where it is used will be protective for the human health and the environment, and it will be capable of achieving site-specific remediation objectives within a time frame that is reasonable compared to other alternatives. Because, as I mentioned in the beginning itself, that the time frame is a problem with respect to the natural attenuation processes. That is why USEP is particularly mentioning about the time. My natural process should not be too much time consuming, so that when I'm looking at the cost benefit analysis at the end, I have more costs than the benefit is in the process. So one need to look up at that. And second thing is, if you're looking at the bioremediation processes, mostly at global level, everyone is accepting this bioremediation process. As gave an example with respect to the Indian mustard and the sunflower, which has been used by China as well as USA. So this process has a scope, and most of the governments are nowadays focusing on the natural attenuation processes rather than the chemical and physical processes, because when we look at the physical and chemical processes, again, they are financially too expensive. So that's why when UPA was questioned about it, they said EPA is not basically it's not basically trying to walk away from the financial responsibilities of a process, but at the same time, we are looking at the processes which are very cleaner for the environment, where we don't have too much of an impact on the environment. And at the same time, when we are looking at the financial point of it, it is feasible process. So I would like to summarize my presentation by saying that when we look at the groundwater remediation, it has undergone two fundamental paradigm shifts. What are those shifts? The first thing was where we were mostly looking at the natural attenuation processes. Only second thing is, after that we moved into the physical and chemical processes, because the natural attenuation process were too much time consuming. And now the paradigm shift that we have moved to is to use again the natural attenuation processes, but which are monitored natural attenuation processes, where basically you are trying to reduce the total time which one has to spend in remediating the contaminants that exist in the surroundings. And also it's a process which can be used in most of the pollutants or contaminants, as I gave an example with respect to the problem of the current times, which is the microplastics, where I said microplastics have been seen everywhere, but it's still the biodegradation or the use of the microorganisms can play a very important role in getting rid of the problem of the plastics that we have currently. And thank you so much with this slide. And if anyone has any questions or queries, you can contact me, or if anyone wants some more information, I have shared my details on the screen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yusuf, for nice
Yes.
presentation for the water pollution and climate in the water plastic in the climate. Sorry, water dissolved in the plastic dissolved in the water.
Yes.
Yeah, next we move to Mr. Please wait, I will see.
Manikandan, sir.
Yeah, Manikandan, sir. Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Sir,
Am
please.
I audible and am I visible?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. Let me share the screen.
Please introduce yourself also, sir.
Yeah. Just a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, is my screen is visible to you all?
Yeah, yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Sure.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So, good evening to all. Myself, I'm Manigandan Chandrasekharan. I'm currently working in Kuwait as a process and safety management engineer, which includes both, plant-wise safety as well as the environmental related, topics, mostly related to the engineering and consulting. Okay, so let me try to figure it out. What is the topic here? So the main topic here, which you can able to see the GHG emissions overview and the reduction strategies for the fourth biggest economy. So why it is fourth biggest economy? Because recently it has been announced that we almost beated Japan in terms of GDP. So it's for our country, India. Okay, so this particular presentation was organized by CSEE. So I'm very much thankful to you, because on this particular auspicious day, where we are having an opportunity to discuss and collaborate and get more knowledge insights with the people, of different environments, maybe with students as well as with professors, as well as in the industrialists, in all aspects. So thank you to all. So let me go into the presentation quickly. So I think everybody knows, in the recent environment for the last, 10 years, this particular climate change we are speaking, everywhere, in the newspapers, in the news channels, as well as we are witnessing in straight. Something is happening, around us, especially in terms of heat, especially in terms of drought, especially in terms of, any turbulences or earthquakes, okay, and even flooding. So these are all very common phenomenon. I think even last week also we witnessed in Mumbai as well as in Delhi a very high flood related scenarios, and even in Bangalore also recently. So typically, even in India is one of the very worst affected country in terms of all these climatic change which has happened for the last 10 years. This particular 10 years, why we are witnessing this particular climate change is because of what we have already consumed, or what we have already polluted the entire nature. So only because of that now we are facing this particular issue. It's not only for India, it's to the entire world. So most of the countries are affected, and only because of that, there are a lot of organizations like UNFCCC as well as UNEP, IPCC, so NOAA, like different organizations are there now. They are having a lot of research and a lot of papers. They are trying to minimize this particular the climatic change events less than 1.5 degrees Celsius. So let me figure it out. So any change in climate over time, whether due to natural variability or as a result of human activity. This is as per IPCC statement. So this is a very common statement. And climate change is attributed directly or indirectly to the human activity that alters the composition of the global atmosphere. Okay, so the entire global atmosphere before 10 to 15 years back was different, where we had a very good environmental aspects, like weather will come, summer will come on the correct time, winter will come on the correct time. But now the scenarios are different, totally different. Okay, so due to these particular changes in the climate, we have lost more than 2 million people and loss of more than $3.64 trillion. So this is what which we have recently witnessed because of all these particular climatic impacts. Okay, so let me go a little bit detail about the presentation. This is nothing but the global warming potential. So global warming potential is nothing but it's purely related to the greenhouse gases. Okay, so why these particular climate changes are happening? Mostly related to the greenhouse gases. So these particular greenhouse gases is nothing but which will harm the earth. That means which will totally warm the earth by absorbing the energy. So basically, where we are living in the earth. So above to us, there are different layers, in the atmosphere, basically. So in that particular, each layer has its own capacity to absorb the energy and slowing the rate where the energy to escape to the space, which is nothing but the ozone layer. Okay, so now whatever we are doing with respect to the industrial revolution after 1970, okay, there are hectic amount of industries has been developed, and because of that particular industries, we are keep on polluting the environment, which means nothing but we are keep on emitting the GHG gases. So these are all the list of GHG gases which you can able to see, which is carbon dioxide, which is the primary one, and second one is methane, which is CH4, then nitrous oxide, then hydrofluorocarbons, then perfluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluorides, and nitrogen trifluorides. These are all the list of greenhouse gases which we are emitting through mostly through an industrial process, and some of them are through our own individual normal day practice, and some of the gases are due to natural process also. Okay, so GHG emissions is not only from any industrial things, it is also through a natural source also GHG emissions will happen. So here you can able to see the lifetime. Okay, so carbon dioxide lifetime is variable. It depends on the intensity of CO2, which is mixing with respect to the area of the atmosphere. Then typically for methane, you can able to see till 12.4 years it can able to withstand, and it can able to pollute that means it can able to trap the ozone. Okay, which is almost, you can see the global warming potential. It is nothing but for carbon dioxide we will always keep one, because everywhere we are monitoring, as well as for calculation purpose and for control purpose and for setting target purpose, we are always take CO2 as a common factor. So that's what it is. Global warming potential is 1, and for methane you can able to see 28 times of the CO2, which means the less 28 times of carbon dioxide, how much it will go and impact the particular ozone, it's almost equal to 1 methane. So typically you can able to see the other areas like nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, 265 times and 138 times. So these are all the different global warming potential. Only because of this higher amount of global warming potential, our ozone got depleted, okay, in the last particular 30 to 50 years. So let me go a little bit detail about the major contributors. See, from where are all these GHG emissions are coming up, but from which are all segments? So you can able to see this is as per IPCC as well as from UNEP reports. 57.1 gigatons of CO2 equivalent. E is nothing but the equivalent, which is all GHG gas emissions. Okay, it has been taken into consideration. That's what here it is, 57.1 gigatons of CO2 equivalent in 2023. This is only till 2023 because the reports has been issued in 2024 November. So based on that particular report, it has been calculated till 2023. You can able to see almost 26% of the power. Okay, that means the percentage out of this 57, 26% is through from the power media, like power plants and refineries or wherever the fossil fuels are there, and remaining 11% are from different industries other than the power sectors like steel, cement, or maybe all other plastic industries or whatever industries if we calibrate, which will emit little bit lesser GHG emissions. Then the major counterpart here is the transportation sector. So the transportation sector itself, it's around 15%. Okay, in that also they have given a classification like 2% in aviation, 11% in the road, and 2% in other areas like sea and other areas. And you can able to see buildings. Here, how come the building makes more GHG emissions? Because for building construction for our entire, each country, not only in India, in every country, the construction segment is one of the biggest segment. So where it has been, emitting more GHG emissions while taking the consumables from different vendors from different countries, we are keep on building it, and again for demolition and for maintenance. So all parameters will needs to be taken care. So 6% for buildings, it's getting emitted, and 10% for fuel productions like oil and gas and solid fuels and all. Then 9% in the process industries. The process based industries are nothing but mostly related to the chemicals. Okay, and 11% from agriculture. Yes, of course, through agriculture also we are emitting more GHG emissions, especially 6% in livestock and 5% in the biomass. Then 7% in LULUCF. This is nothing but from the land how much we are utilizing, and from the land how much we are emitting, like carbon sinks. Okay, so generally land has the own capability, and even the oceans also capability to absorb as well as emit the particular CO2 emissions, which includes all greenhouse gases. Okay, and 4% from other like waste and other things. So waste and other things are nothing but it's generally called reusability and circular economy. So all these things, how we are taking the product and how we are using it and how we are wasting it. So all these classifications. So all together, now we are achieving around 57.1 gigatons of CO2 in 2023. This is the old statistics, okay, not till 2025. So you can able to see here from 1980s, you can able to see here almost CO2 emission levels has been increased drastically to 420.3. Which is almost 50% higher than the pre-industrial level. That means before 1970s, the industry, that means pre-industrial level CO2 emissions are less than 150 to 200 maybe. But now you can able to see it's 419.3 parts per million. Typically for methane, you can able to see it is 1922. Okay, and even for nitrous oxide you can able to see it is 25% higher, which is 336. So these are all the statistics which we have took from NOAA, which is one of the US based climate research organization. So this much amount of drastical change only after the post industrial revolution. So this is nothing but the global GHG ramification until 2023. You can able to see this is the entire world map where everywhere you can able to see one of the biggest events. Okay, that means the floods in Bengaluru, one of the example, landslides in Kerala is one of the example, and now I think we are facing in eastern part of India, we are facing a heavy floods. So typically the major impacts of ramifications are shown here in 2023. Okay, so which means the global GHG ramification. So now let me move on to the national determined contributions. So this is generally called technically like NDC. Okay, so NDCs are nothing but in Paris Agreement. Okay, in 2015, the entire countries has made an determination to achieve some certain targets in order to minimize the overall global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. That's what here I have given in the bold. The world should be on track to meet the long-term temperature goal of the agreement, which is 1.5 degrees Celsius. Because of, in order to achieve this 1.5 degrees Celsius only, every country, they are pushing, and in and around we can able to see there are a lot of developments in the green evolutions, like electric vehicles, or maybe like green hydrogen, blue hydrogen, then solar, then wind power, then other technologies, like carbon capture, and different like natural processes. There are different natural processes other than afforestation. So all we are, every government, every country, all they are pushing in order to match this particular 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this is one of the NDC. So every country needs to provide one NDC, nationally determined contribution. So our NDC is nothing but we are going to achieve the net zero emission. We are going to achieve the net zero at 2070. That means in 2070 at the year. Now we are in 2025. So in 2070 we are going to achieve the entire net zero, which means how much we are consuming, we are totally not going to emit any GHG emissions. So here you can able to see IPCC AR6 report reveals that the GHG emissions are to be reduced around 60%, which means as per the current trend, 22 metric tons of gigatons, sorry, it's not metric ton, gigatons of CO2 by 2030, in order to maintain the Paris Agreement goal 1.5 degrees Celsius. Because now we have almost crossed the 1.5 degrees Celsius and we are going till 1.5 to 1.6% now, 1.6 degrees Celsius. So in order to minimize, in order to come back to 1.5 degrees Celsius, we need to achieve minimum 22 gigatons of CO2. That means the control of emissions. So whether this is possible or not, UNEP report clearly states the possibility of the above emission reduction target is only less than 50% chances are there. Okay, which means only 50%. If every countries are really giving all infrastructures, every country is really do the climate financing in order to support the low income based countries, then this is possible. So that's what they have revealed, that only 50% mere chances are there in order to maintain this 1.5 degrees Celsius. Why this 1.5 degrees Celsius? Because if we attain, or if we go above 1.5, already we crossed, but still if we go above 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius, then we may face a very severe drought. We may face a severe crisis like earthquakes and heavy landslides, uneven distribution of climatic changes. Everything will happen drastically, like within a year we can experience more. So in order to give this particular national determined contributions, every country has its own goal. So in India, as a Indian, where we are in the global emitter list, let me see. So here, if you can able to see the major GHG emitters and India's contribution, you can able to see we are almost in the third segment. Okay, so where we are emitting, this is still only 2023 year report. This is from UNEP. So which clearly states that 4,140 gigatons, okay, which is almost per capita. If it comes only 2.9, because our whole population is more, so obviously our per capita emissions are less. Okay, so in the right side you can able to see like whether we can able to achieve this NDC or not. You can able to see like some countries like China as well as Mexico, India. So this area, whichever is marked in the right side of you, there is a possibility of achieving the NDCs, okay, based on the current policies. Because this particular NDC, every time in COP till 28, I think it has been done. So in every year they will assemble in one particular country and they will discuss about and they will finalize these NDCs. So during that time they will improvise the conditions as well as the policies they will incorporate. So based on the current policies till the last COP, yes, it is possible. There is a chance. So as I already mentioned, this is what about the India's net zero target in 2070, where even it is available in our portal like MOEF, as well as in the parliamentary also they have declared this. So we are targeting 2070 in 26th session of COP, the Conference of Parties. India has declared this, the outcomes. Okay, what are all the outcomes? We need to reach 500 gigawatts of non-fossil energy capacity by 2030. That is one of the major tasks, and we almost means we are almost going to reach this before 2030 as per the current scenario. Then second one is about 50% of the energy requirements from the renewable energy such as solar, wind and geothermal and nuclear by 2030. And even in the last parliament bill also, you can able to see there are new introductions about the nuclear related things and also solar related things to the each house under the prime minister schemes. Okay, so we are targeting very clearly and we are moving towards it. And the third one is related to reduction of carbon emissions of around 1 ton from the current levels by 2030. So this is nothing but in every segment, in every area, in every factory, they are just trying to achieve this this particular carbon emission at different through different technologies, which we will see in the next slides. Then all together we can able to achieve this by 2070. So this is what the overall net zero target in 2070. So let me go up to the sector-wise GHG emissions. This is also for our country, India. You can able to see if India's sector-wise GHG emissions without additional policies, which I have already mentioned. As per the current policies, this is okay. But without additional policies, if we leave it, then we may achieve if we add all together in the right side, okay, whatever it has been given in terms of emissions like 291, 952, it will cross more than 6,000. Now we are almost in 4,070 till 2023, but now maybe it will be a little bit more. But if we leave it, then we may end up with another addition of 2,000 metric tons of CO2. Okay, and segment wise also here it has been classified clearly. So mostly the segment is in the industry segments, okay, where we are emitting almost 3,600. Typically for other segments like electricity, yes, it is 1,300. Then for transportation sector it is 1,100. So like this, every country has their own particular emission reports. Every year they will deliver this. So if without we are any new policies are not added up in order to control this particular emissions, then we may face another addition of 2,000 metric tons. So now let me talk about the reduction strategies. Okay, so I think now everybody can understand what and why, what is the national determined targets, and what our India's level till to 2070, what is our level, that means net zero level. So now the reduction strategies for the industries and corporate, this particular reduction strategies is also there in WRI as well as in UNFCCC, and some of the points based on my experience also I added up. So here you can able to see India is under the progress of more likely to achieve the NDC. Yes, under 2030 current policies, which means based on the current policies implementations like renewable up to 500 gigawatts and all those things which has been specified, we can able to achieve the 2030 target. Then second, we are progressively rapidly, in order to perform more likely, we need to obtain around 60% of the target GHG emissions through different new technologies. Even though if we apply and if we can perform all the current policies, still we are having, additional of around 60% we need to push it through different technologies, because the current technologies are it's matching, but it's still not sufficient to tackle that additional 2000 metric tons which we have discussed previously. So in order to do that, there are different technologies which is available in the market, and it has been recommended by IPCC as well as WRI as well. One is the carbon capture, utilization, storage technologies in major contributors like power sectors like power plants, steel and cement sectors, and also in refineries. And also second technology, it's called direct air capture technology in MSME industrial corridors, which is emitting lesser CO2 emissions, maybe less than 1 ton or maybe less than 10 tons of CO2 emissions, where we can use the technology called direct air capture technology. These are all technologies which is already available in the market, and it is recently commissioned, and it's shown its progress of absorbing the entire carbon directly from the point sources. That means from the stack or from the chimney through the pipeline. It will try to absorb the entire CO2, and it will try to process the CO2 through the low amine solutions, and it will try to filter it out the entire GHG emissions, and try to release the free, that means without any GHG emissions, a free airflow. Whatever the carbon deposits will be stored inside the underground, or maybe it can be used as a like on in oil and gas sector where we are working. It's called enhanced oil recovery. In order to push the crude oil out, generally we are using chemicals, water, or sometimes gas in order to take it out. But instead of that, we can able to use this particular CO2 whatever we have filtered through these particular technologies. It is currently countries like UK, and other 1 or 2 European countries, they already worked into it and they have implemented this. Okay, so these are all 2 different technologies. And second technology is about direct air capture. This is nothing but wherever we are having a cluster of MSMEs, where we can able to freeze this particular DAC, direct air capture, and we can able to absorb the open atmospheric carbon captures. Okay, carbon capture, and the same process will follow through. Once the carbons are settled down, then it will be needs to be removed it from the filters. Then it can be pumped out for any kind of thing, like solid, if it pumped out through a solid material or pumped out through a liquid material. Accordingly, based on our requirement, we can store it in underground, or we can use it for oil recovery, or maybe we can use it for synthetic plastics. Then the third one is about the industry reusability designs. Okay, industry reusability designs means, because now most of the products, especially from China, where we are getting the materials, these are all mostly single time usage, where the reusability design concepts are very less. But now very recently, for the last 5 years, US and Europe, they are improving more. Each and every product, they are trying to add this particular additional standard under each domain. In order to maximum, they are trying to reuse the materials, okay, in order to minimize the production. That's the major aim. So these will obviously minimize the waste. This will obviously minimize the waste, means obviously we will control the emission from the source, which is from the industries. So that is the reusability designs we need to implement in India. Actually, in India it is very less. Okay, And the fourth point is about the energy efficiency improvements, such as green building concepts and lead implementations in construction sector, because construction sector is the biggest sector where in India there is a council called IGBC, where they are already providing different services, and lead is one of the US based services which they will certify the buildings. So energy, when they will certify based on our construction, what kind of material we are using, how much emissions it's making. So all the reports we need to give, and even the design part also we need to be taken care in order to maximum utilization of sunlight, maximum, that means the minimum utilization of water, and minimum usage of waste, and maximum recovery of water from the source. So all these basic objectives, if we follow and if we implement, obviously they will provide the certifications from IGBC and LEED. So this is one of the particular thing which we need to improve still. We are improving, but still we need to improve more. Then the fifth option is about the low carbon alternative fuels. Low carbon alternative fuels, now I think IOCL recently announced that they are going to implement the green hydrogen plant. If I'm not wrong, it's in Bihar. They announced recently. So typically we are expecting more low carbon alternative fuels, especially from the government sectors, and also EV implementations in all government sectors. So EV implementations are nothing but, now we are witnessing a lot of electric vehicles from different company, and if you can able to see, like, the potential of the EV has been increased drastically. Even 2023 2024 statistics, it has been increased almost 200% hike, especially in two-wheelers and four-wheelers, that too in the car segments. Okay. And even in India, different companies, they are coming up and they are building their factories, and they are implementing, they are exporting a lot of EVs nowadays. Okay. So we are improving in that aspects also. Then last one, you can able to see the grid scale energy storage through the solar and wind power. So this particular concept, through now we are using a normal transmission distribution. Okay. Wherever we are receiving power from the power sources, like power plants. But the grid scale energy storage through the solar and wind power, because it's a kind of smart grid system, generally it's called. It is very recently evolving, and there are some plants which is already there in America and also in Europe, especially by Tesla and all, you can able to see. So it's an integrated plant where it will try to store the energy, and whenever it is required, it will feed to the industries. Okay. So these kind of batteries, it's basically and smart system, it's purely. So whenever we need, we can able to take it. So those kind of technologies are still, we are not into that maximum level. Still we are using the normal fossil fuel things only. So we need to entirely change this into the grid scale energy storage systems. Then the last one is about the tracking the GHG emissions in all government and corporate sectors as a mandatory, and minimum 1% reduction in every 1 year from their target through the centralized data monitoring service. This is also, I'm just trying to give one small suggestion. Like typically, every industry now, as per RBI regulations, sorry, first 1,000 companies, they need to give their BRSR report. First 1,000 corporates. Okay. Which means, as per the financial status, first 1,000 companies, they need to implement this, and they need to disclose their ESG report, which is nothing but, in our India, it is called BRSR. So typically this system needs to be again improvised till to the MSME segments, because now under BWE, our own organization, for energy efficiency, we are already implementing, and every government companies, we are having a target, and we are having a continuous energy audits every 1 year, and they are trying to reduce their energy consumptions. For the last 5 to 7 years, it's already going on. Typically here also, government needs to make as a mandatory move for less than 1% of reduction, okay, in terms of GHG emissions, by utilizing all these particular technologies in addition to tackle that additional 2,000 metric ton, or else we'll be in the second next to China. Okay. So these are all the different reduction strategies which we still lagging, or maybe we need to implement in the future, because here I'm not talking about solar or maybe wind, which are already there and we are performing well. These areas where we are performing, but still it's not up to the level where we need to improvise this. This is the reduction strategies for the industries and corporates. So let me move on to the final slide. Reduction strategies for an individual. See, whatever now we have looked over before, the major part from the industries, but still why industry is generating, because we are consuming more. So as an individual, we need to have the same responsibility that we need to give this particular environment in a very good fashion to the next future generations, or else I'm damn sure, I'm expecting that within another 15 to 20 years we may get purified air from all dukans, maybe, like, every in malls, in shopping markets, everywhere. Okay, we are going to use that. And for water also, we are also one of the water stress country, so definitely we will face the water stress very soon throughout India. Okay, so we need to be very much responsible towards the environment. As an individual, what are all things we can able to do? So first one, consume less water in homes by having a waterless urinals, because now there are different technologies, even it came in even in India. So waterless urinals means what? We are using more amount of water, especially in washrooms and urinals. So there are the particular designs are already there, and it is commercialized also. We need to use this, we need to improvise, and government needs to take action into it. So waterless urinals are already available, which we need to utilize it. And also having a flow controllers in our domestic tap for utensils, washings and bathing purposes. These particular flow controllers are nothing but it's a small equipment which will minimize the flow and maximize the usage, how we are normally washing the utensils, how we are taking bath. So everything, it can be controlled based on our requirement. We can able to set it. So these are all now becomes very cheap, and we need to start utilizing all these things to minimize the water consumption. This is one of our main individual duty, okay, which we need to try and utilize it. Then next one is about the plastic. So this year, I think the main goal of environmental day is the plastic consumption. I think in India, in plastic, we are bad till last 3 to 4 years back. But once, as a central government has made a very good initiative, the entire single usage of plastic has been banned. So mostly we are avoiding, but still, in some areas it's keep on, single usage plastics are more. And we cannot be able to prevent, especially from the products which we are consuming, single usage plastics. So these areas we are still lagging, and we need to improvise. See, as per the statistics, in India we are using more than 12 plastics, okay, approximately 12 plastics, in terms of different, like chocolate papers, or maybe water bottles, or maybe consumption of food, whatever the medium. So approximately it's around 12, that we need to at least minimize it to 4. So that's what even in the previous presenters are also clearly told about the implements, the very dangerous parts of the plastics, which we already utilize, because now we are in a good shape, we are progressing, but still we need to improvise a lot to minimize this particular usage of plastics from 12 to 4. So these can be done through like biodegradable water cartoons are already available, where we can minimize the usage of water bottles and all those stuffs, or maybe we can use the steel water bottles. And also we need to avoid using the single usage plastics. Instead, we can use our normal the previous bags, which made up of woolen or maybe the cotton bags. And typically we need to consume less products such as bags, footwears, glass and consumer. Because why this is very important here is, once we are after 2000 in India, we are having a lot of industries. Once the globalization has been opened, we are that means we are educated, and we are improvising our own means qualifications, we are getting good wages. Typically we are consuming more products. Throughout India is one of the biggest market all around the world. Even in PPP also, we are number one, actually, we are number two next to China. So which means what? We are consuming more. All products, every products from different countries, they are dumping to us in order to make this happens. So these we need to minimize it. We need to use whatever we require. If you want to have one bag, we have one bag, or whatever, glasses or footwears, everything, in order to minimize that particular additional carbon emissions from the plant. Then the final one is nothing but which everybody knows, that we need to use the BEE certified energy products to minimize the fuel emissions from the power plant. So like as I mentioned already, IGBC and LEED, they are having their own standards, where for any new constructions, if we need to get the certifications, then government also needs to try to implement these particular things, okay, in a day-to-day activities. So this is what all about. So if you have any queries, please let me know, or thank you so much for the detailed presentation where I can able to give. So I hope that it might be a little bit useful to you all, guys. Yep. Any questions or
Hello, thank you, sir. Thank you, Chandrasekharan.
Yeah, any questions are there means you can ask. Okay, sir. No questions, I think.
no questions? Okay, so these are all only the overview, because I'm not talking about related to the individual technologies, because individual technology needs to be discussed. It will be a little bit more technical and more detailed. So individual technologies are also there to be discussed. Yes, Mr. Vinay. Mr. Vinay. Okay, maybe he wrongly raised the hands. So hope it might be a little bit useful. So thank you so much. And is there any questions, you can text to our CSSE, so they'll be in touch. And these are all, again, I'm telling, it's only the overall approach. Individual technical approach, we will maybe discussing, in detail, like carbon capture technologies and DAC, direct air capture technologies, everything in detail, maybe in the future sessions based on the requirement. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Chandrasekharan, sir. Nice presentation. So now we move to the next section. So we announced the prize, first prize and second prize and third prizes. Actually, there are 25 questions. So there are 350 members are participated, around 380 members. So in that, there are 7 members are out of 25 by 25. So Dr. Rajeshri ma'am.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please announce for
So-
the first prizes, first winners. So for first winners, we will issue one T-shirt, one mug. I will show the T-shirts and mug also. So by courier, we will issue the things and plant also. There are three items for the first prize, and the second prizes we will give the T-shirt and mug. And third prizes, we will issue the one plant. So please announce I will show the. So
Okay.
everybody knows. Please announce the names, madam.
Yes. So the first prize goes to Sri Ramya Lakshmi Sati and Lakshmi Prasanna. These are the two names. Lakshmi
Ramya
Sati
Lakshmi.
and
Ramya Lakshmi is there?
Ramya Lakshmi.
Sir, thank you, sir.
If Ramya Lakshmi is there,
Congratulations.
please turn on the camera.
Yes, sir, thank you, sir.
Yeah, 1 minute actually. You can place properly. We can take your screenshot actually.
Yeah, we will
Sir,
take
please take the screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, I am taking. Yeah, congratulations, Rajlakshmi. Yeah.
Thank you. Sir.
Okay. And then next one, madam. Next first prize winner.
Lakshmi Prasanna.
Lakshmi Prasanna is there.
Is Ramya Lakshmi
Another Lakshmi
Yes, sir.
Prasanna.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
please turn on your camera.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you have received the
First phrase. Yeah.
first prize Andy.
Okay.
Thank you,
Please.
sir.
Okay. Okay. Then we can take
Where is
one screenshot.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next, second prize goes to Soumya Sahu. Soumya is there? Hello.
I think she left, sir.
Okay.
And
And Chetan. Second prize goes to Chetan also.
Yes, sir, I am
she
here.
also left.
Thank you,
Chetan
sir.
is there.
Chetan is there, na?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
on your camera if possible.
I am visible, sir.
Yeah. 1 minute.
Yeah, visible it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And the
Third
third
prize, sir,
prize,
minimum, Chandrasekhar, sir.
Manikanthan, sir.
Chandrasekharan, sir, please announce the third prizes. Actually, we have selected 3 prizes for the third prizes. 3 members.
Okay, just a minute, sir.
Okay.
Nothing. Mhm.
Sir, I think that particular communication, it's not coming. Can you please?
Okay. Please announce,
Okay.
sir.
Sure. Thank you.
Anandraj ji.
Okay, sir.
Anandraj, sir.
Third prize goes to Praveen. Praveen is there?
Yeah, you announce the 3 members, then we will take a.
Praveen, Deepak, and Anjali. Praveen, Deepak, and Anjali. Those are there.
Praveen, Deepak, and Anjali.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Deepak.
Yeah, thank
Praveen
you.
is there. Anjali, you can also turn on camera. Please.
Turn on our cameras. We will take one photograph, and we will share the. Please share your addresses. We'll send the courier
We
and for
will.
that one T-shirt and a mug and one plant. So it's okay. We will here only. We will. I will share the what T-shirts we can send it right now. I will show the things. Please wait 1 minute. Yeah. So this mug and T-shirts are visible, na, for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will send the one plant also along with. So for 3 prizes, we will send the 3 items.
Okay then. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Then
you. Thank you, one and
congratulations
all,
to
for
all.
participating.
We have successfully completed our World Environmental Day 2025. So thank you for the speakers accepting our requests. So Dr. Rajeshri ma'am and Dr. Yusuf and Mr. Manikandan Chandrasekharan. Sorry, sir. So thank you for thank you, sir. Anandji, shall we leave?
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
We can leave
Thank
it.
you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you,
Alan,
one and all, for participating. Keep in touch for further webinars and all those.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.